Hello everyone! Welcome to sketchbook tour number 19, guys! This sketchbook, I think, is one of my favorites for a long time, on the contrary of the last one that I had. But yeah, this one, I was inspired by this YouTuber right here, and she kind of like sewed and made her own sketchbook, and then I tried a different technique of sewing where you like sew different papers together on top of each other type shit, instead of inside each other like she was doing in that video, and it didn't go so well, so I taped the back here, 19, with the tape that makes everything good. Favorite sketchbook that I've had so far, because the insides are kind of nice. Yeah, so I made this. This is completely made by me. I made this whole goddamn little book here. So let's start the tour, guys. Here we go, sketchbook number 19. And yeah, I ended it yesterday. Hold on. I ended the book 1st of May. 2026. Yeah. Alright, so here we have my OC Juniper. Kind of shitty drawing. Not my favorite in the book. It's not okay. And then here we have Glaze with the song Lavish from 21 Pilots. And then here we have my OC gang from the Juniper's Reekers. Like, this is the main character together with Juniper. And then we have Sashi as, like, second main character type shit. And then we have Eurysika and Xavier as, like, side characters. So these are a friend group, and then they have to, like, be friends with Juniper as well, because he's the only one that can drive. Yeah. So yeah, it's the Hope gang. She's Hope. This is the gang. Sashi, Eurysika, and Xavier. Xavi is also the cousin of Juniper. Yep. And then here, yeah, so this is basically a collage page of when I was in Germany for the first time in my life. I've been traveling a little bit this year. So, I took a train ticket, some quote about the Women Day that we had at the school stuff, Minecraft keychain, the Iron Lung movie that I watched in the cinema, and I took the tickets and slammed it in here. And then, of course, when I was in Germany, in Berlin, I bought Star Wars merch, like a cool t-shirt, so I had to put the tag in here. And yeah, just a bunch of, like, stuff. I was there. I was at that place, Checkpoint Charlie. It has a cool museum there that you can, like, actually... I think it's, like, a whole history book on the walls in that museum. So, like, if you have a lot of time and you're in Berlin, you could just, like, go there and read for a day. And, yeah. Here's also the Checkpoint Charlie museum, wall museum thing. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. Loved that journey, it was very nice. And then here we have Dominic and me experimenting with sharks and his motif with sharks and stuff. And then, of course, like, gold marker and everything. And so basically what I did when I made this sketchbook, very shabby as you can see, I've taped it so many times. Yeah, I'm not good at sewing, guys. I did get a grasp on it at the end, but it's already too late, you know, because it's at the fucking end, and I'm not redoing the whole goddamn thing, so I just have a shabby notebook now. Sketchbook. But yeah, so I took some sketching papers from, like, a paper pad thingy that I've had for a long time, and then here we have some normal copying paper that's really, really shitty quality, right? Because then I can have some pages who are, like, more quality based, and I should, like, lock in every time I use them type shit. And then I have some pages where I can just do animatic logic and random bullshit and color tryouts, and it's fine because it's very cheap. So yeah, here we have animatic logic for a Dominic animatic. Here we have some shark practices, more animatic logic, and then here we have some watercolor paper, which is very nice. Okay, so the watercolor paper itself was actual shit, because it was a very cheap paper. I think it's this one right here. Yeah, no, I do not recommend that. It was very cheap as well, so. But yeah, so I used some papers from that pad thing and put it in here. And here we go, guys! Okay, hold. I probably need to, like, talk about it. So here I did some car practices to just, like, learn how the fuck to draw cars. And then I drew Juniper's car. He has like a van and stuff that they're all gonna sit inside of. And here's more Juniper stuff. First of all, we have Glaze, which is from a whole different universe, as we all know at this point. Trust. And then we have Juniper's parents. We have his dad, Adrian. His name was Finn before, but I'm thinking Adrian more now. So we have Finn, Juniper's dad, and then we have Juanita, Juniper's mom. She's very strict. That's her whole thing. She's very strict, and she's a military general type person. And then here's Adrian again. I'm just gonna call him Finn, actually. Yeah. Here's Finn again. Here's Finn another time. And here's Juniper and his older sister, Bree. I always do her dirty. Like, I always fail her. Like this one's fine, this one's fine, this one's this one's this one's very And then here's a quote from this song. It's a very cool song. And it really fits this family, especially like his view of his family and stuff. So like, who forced the hand to make the clone? Because Finn has 3 kids. He has Juniper, the youngest, Bree, the middle child, and then Cypher, the oldest. So Cypher is Juniper's oldest brother, and he follows in his mother's footsteps when these two like separate their lives. These two follow dad, and then he follows mom. So yeah, who forced the hand to make the clone? He's basically become his mother type shit. And that's not always a good thing, but maybe too. I don't know. Remember, behave, son. Yes, man. Because I mean, military is very, like, strict environment, right? And she's now showing off her offspring in the military and stuff, so she's, he needs to be on his best behavior for sure, dude. He can't come here and, like, ruin her reputation in any way. That's not allowed. Oh my god! Oh my... Hold on. I need to check if the camera is seeing the pure glory of this. Okay, good. It is, because... Oh my god. So here we have Glaze with muscle. I made a short about it. Yeah. And I mean, I think these scars are canon now. Because I haven't really known where to... She's been through enough that she would actually have scars. But I haven't really known exactly where and how and what and why and stuff. But I think these can be canon, yeah. And then we have Start a Fight with the 2 sisters from Las Fronteras, or the Borders. And so this is the friend of Juniper. They're all connected. Okay, she's not connected. She's in her whole other universe. But she's the friend of Juniper, and she is the dealer that Juniper goes to. Because, like, again, he has some addiction problems. And is basically kind of dependent on Evangeline as well. And Evangeline is very violent. And the older sister of Hugo. So yeah, they're basically a bit on opposite sides. Like, again, this is the friend of Juniper after all. And Juniper gets constantly tortured and kicked in the ass by Evangeline, so... They're not friends, and they're not really talking anymore, even though they're sisters. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of, yeah, stuff. Here we have Juanita again, and I wanted to, in these 2 pages, I'm kind of exploring how Juniper was raised, because, like, I've known for a while how he was raised, but I haven't really drawn it out before, so here I'm drawing it out. So basically... She applies a lot of pressure on him when it comes to, like, focusing on school and stuff. And when he's, like, 13, he doesn't know why, but he can't focus anymore. And it's maybe because he's pressuring himself too much, because she's pressuring him too much. And then it's also because, like, his parents are kind of fighting a lot. And he doesn't know that it can affect him that badly to see his parents kind of, yeah, fight. Or like... his sister fight his mom as well. So, yeah. Like, he's just a little boy. And then he's also, like, proud when he gets an A and stuff. Then she's like, oh, good job. So proud. So it's kind of like that. Like, if you don't do this, then you won't be shown as much love as of when you do good. When you do good, you get more love. When you do bad, you don't get as much love. But it was never anything like, you're not worth anything if you don't. It's just like, hey, you can do better, type shit, you know? Yeah. And then he's also like in the middle of when them two are fighting, and like she's like, oh, but acting is a real job, and Juanita is so sure that it's not. Acting is not a real job, like, because she respects the arts as like, okay, yeah, that's fun and stuff, but at the end of the day, you need to have real jobs here. You know, military's a real job. She's kind of there, yeah. So again, Juniper is kind of raised in a household where you can't really express yourself fully without being yelled at or looked down upon or getting a lesson of some kind. Yeah. Here we have Hope again and her mother. First time I'm coloring her, I'm not pleased. I want to try again some other time. But yeah, she's also very strict. And instead of being all sad and caving down on herself, like Juniper is doing, Hope is very like, I'm gonna show you! Rah! I'm angry! I'm an angry, angsty teenager! Rah! You know, like, Hope kind of acts out like that instead. And there's Glaze again. There's a doodle of Trix, which is like the person that Hugo looks after sometimes. And then we have Tomelia, because in the borders we have like 3 bullies. We have Evangeline, we have John, and we have Lemony. And John is like the biggest bad of the 3, and then John has Tomelia as a girlfriend. And she knows everything bad about every person in the borders, which means that if you cross her, your biggest, darkest secret will be out there for the whole world to see. There's a lot of dead people behind this lady. Yeah, we don't like her. But we have kind of sympathy, because she is a heavy addict and user, and she kind of has an arc where she gets to, like, look after someone and manages to, like, stand up to John and stuff, because John and Tomelia are both torturing each other in that relationship, both physically and mentally on both parts, type shit, so. And then here we have Juniper. Yeah, he's talking about, like, what to do after you've had a relapse or something, because, again, he's an addict, and sometimes he tries to stop, and then he relapses, and then it's like, okay, what do you do now? Well, you clean your room, or do something that gives you actual sense of control, instead of things that seem like it's giving you control, and then it really isn't. Yeah. Little boy. I love Juniper so much. I love him so much. Oh my god, Glaze! Ah! Okay, anyway, so here's me figuring out Sashi's younger design. And then it's Juniper again when he's little. And this is also kind of animatic logic. So yeah. And then we have more animatic logic, and also Glaze. She's been tied down by a certain emperor. And they're arguing and kicking each other's ass. Yeah. I really like this drawing. Like, the color palette and everything is very nice. Glaze, my baby girl. Oh my god. More animatic logic, more animatic logic. Let's see. And more animatic logic. Angry Juniper. Worried Sashi. Juniper, if I were to emote with his ears more. But I don't think I'll do that, because it kind of looks more like a goblin than a werebat at that point. So yeah. And then here we have Brian. Brian is the little brother of Glaze. And then I was listening to this song right here. And he has a wife called Vienna. And Vienna, when these two were younger, they were good friends, and then he was drafted in the military together with his sister and everything, and then shit went wrong, and he came home with 1 arm less than what he had when he left. And then she lost her father, or didn't know if he was alive or dead, for a long time, and became a very damaged and insecure and fucked up teenager. at the time, and she was addicted to a lot of stuff and very self-destructive and all that shit. And then they together, they had the same type of energy at the time when he came back from the military with one arm less. Because his sister was the one to kind of, Glaze was the one to kind of rid him of his arm. Plot happened, guys, plot happened. And so yeah, they were kind of betrayed and lost someone together, and then they started building each other up together when they were hanging out together and stuff when they were younger. And then later, when they're grown up, Vienna, he's still in the military doing missions and stuff. And Vienna is a principal at a school and is very like strict and tight, straight up tight, all that jazz. But I don't think she ever shook the smoking. Especially not after listening to this song, guys, bro, it's so good. And then it's like, because she gets left alone with I think 3 kids sometimes when he goes out to do military stuff. And she gets so fed up with that because she doesn't know if he's alive or dead sometimes. And that was what ruined her in the first place when she was a kid and her father left. So it's kind of harder on her than we would all like it to be. And then 2, her mother was also left alone with 2 kids in this case. And so yeah, it's basically history repeating itself, this whole thing right here. And it's also because he was only doing some missions here and there, maybe more than I would think, for the military. And then he gets this mission about killing his sister, because his sister returns as this, like, terrorist and stuff. And he's like, oh my god, yes, I'm gonna do that. Holy shit, revenge. I didn't know she was still alive, she's gone. Like, he gets kind of obsessed about that. And that's probably when this spirals a bit out of control for Vienna, because I have a arc where she maybe like either leaves him and the kids or leaves at least him and then just goes underground and works on a train to like maintain the train and the train tracks and stuff. So we'll see where her arc actually goes. But I do indeed think that she has these moments where she just goes and smokes in the middle of the night and thinks about life, no matter if he's home or not. Here we're back in Juniper's Reekers, the Juniper universe type shit. Here we have Cedric. That's Juniper's best friend. She is in a much more healthy place than him at this time. So she has this car, she has this mechanic shop, she fixes up every car in the borders. Everyone knows her, like, skills with driving the car, and tricksing and shit. So yeah, it's very much like, if, like, John and the bullies try to, like, fuck with her, everyone in the borders that has a car will look at him with evil eyes. Because, like, don't threaten the guy who pours the drinks type shit. Like, she's that kind of person. And she has soon-to-be wife, Sasha, and they together are saving up to move out of the borders. But it's nearly impossible because it's so expensive to move from there. There's a whole bank system that kind of traps everyone there, and everyone suffers in poverty and can't move anywhere, and there's a lot of drugs, a lot of shit going on there. But she managed to become clean. When she was younger, the schools were able to, like, give out drugs to the students there because there was a lot of war going on and close to the borders, so there were a lot of, like, flight alarms and people were scared and couldn't focus and shit. So she had kind of got addicted from that age, and then they were outlawed, those drug thingies, so the school burnt down and there became a new school, and that's when Juniper moved to the borders and met Cedric, and he couldn't focus on schoolwork. So Cedric was like, hey, I know a place where you can get those old drugs that the school had before to help us with that. And that's how he, after some time, became addicted as well. And then she got out of that addiction, but he didn't. So she kind of goes around with a bit of guilt for that, but again, she was just a kid and she didn't know any better. So yeah, she kind of tries to help Juniper when she can and how she can, but again, he has to be the one to take the steps to help himself at the end of the day, of course. She can't save him or help him forever at everything. She needs to save and help herself too. Because yeah, you can recover from an addiction, but you have bad days. And I think in the story, again, she's just a side character, but I hope really cool side character, and she probably will have at least one day of like doubt and hopelessness and stuff when it comes to this whole plan of moving out away from there with Sasha. I am hyped to get to know her more. I'm hyped for the Hope Gang to get to know her more. She's also called the Lioness. She's a werelion. So, yeah. She's kind of the alpha number 2 in the in the borders area. There's John, he's on top, and he rules with fear and everything, and then she comes here and she's like all chill and shit. People can just feel safe and be helped by her as long as they respect her. She respects them, no matter who they are or where they come from. It's very good. It's very cool. I love her! She's so cool! Ah. Okay, anyway. And she drives a Volvo. This model right here. Yeah. Oh, last pages, guys. This is a very short sketchbook, yes. So we have this. Again, we're back in Glace's universe. Scratch all that with the Juniper Reekers, okay? We're back in Glace's universe. This is basically... She shot her brother's arm, and he was infected and lost his arm. And then we don't know what happened to her. We don't know where she went, and she went a lot of places. And then suddenly she came back as this like terrorist with a underground group called Mayholm. So this is basically the people in her mafia group that she is actually with at the time. She's around 25 here, I think. So yeah, this is Birchie. He is the cute sidekick because every angry, cold, fucked up person needs a cutie patootie sidekick. And he kind of stumbles into Glace's life because both of them have this like extra werewolf form that almost no one else has, where it's like if they feel very, very trapped, it kind of bursts out this beast form, which is basically like 5 meters tall, gigantic werewolf form that like no other werewolves in this day and age has, but it was normal like thousands of years ago. So yeah, so Birchie wants to find out what the fuck that is, and he saw her fighting on like a game show. It was not a game, everything was real. So he kind of stalks her up, and she's like, what the fuck? Do not even, why is this guy bothering me? Oh my fucking, get this teenager out of my sight! But he sticks around anyway, and so they become kind of friends. For in this scenario, it's basically like, but I've seen her angry before. Not like this, kid. Not like this. And then she's like crashing out in the other room type shit. And yeah, Rithian, he is like a charismatic gunslinger, vampire type guy. And Lavier is she was raised all alone. Like, she only had videotapes of her family, and she was raised on a continent that was blown to pieces by atomic bombs and shit. So she basically raised herself and then became obsessed with science and radioactivity because that was the undoing of her family. So she doesn't really care about society at all, and can go very far before she becomes like weirded out and shit. So this is very, very unusual for her to be like, oh my god, damn, how angry can she get? Type shit. It's very unusual for her to be distressed like this. She doesn't care. Normally. And like, again, Birchie has seen Glace angry before because he's very close to her all the time, and she, at this point, she's been so fucked up in her life and unable to go back to society or be accepted in any way that she's just angry, drinking all the time, all that jazz, all the time. Kind of pit fighter Vi arc, to describe it in simple words. So yeah, that is until Lavier pitches the idea of going and getting revenge. Then she kind of locks in and sobers up, and it's like, okay, yeah, let's take control back in my life. I can't fix anything in the past, but at least I can do that. At least he can get punished for what he did. You know, yeah, all that jazz. And then here we have the gang. Rithian just trying to be nice. Glace that's like, don't touch me. Lavier, what does this mean? Physical contact? Huh? And then Birchie, I'm also here. Yeah, he's just cute like that. He's just cute like that. Nothing can go wrong when you have a cutie patootie character with a lot of brutal off people. What? What can go wrong? And then I want to put something here, but I don't know what it would be yet, so I haven't put anything there. So we'll see if I do that or if I just move on with my life. So yeah, that was the sketchbook. Also, shout out to the first con I've ever been to, I think. Yeah, that's the sketchbook. Sketchbook 19. A small diamond. A small little crystal and everything else. And this is, of course, Hugo on the cover with her own little bomber jacket that says, "This dog bites." Because she is a were-dog. I think the German Shepherd would kind of work with her. Like, she's a weird German Shepherd. That was the sketchbook tour and some OC lore. If you want more OC lore, you can check out these playlists on my channel, where you can see more about Glaze's universe and of Juniper's universe. And if you want to see more sketchbook tours, I have a lot of them already up on my channel. And then I'm also working on this right here, which I actually decorated the cover for. It was very fun to do that. So I'm working on that, and I have many already up. And yeah, there's only going to be more OC stuff, more big productions. I've been working on one video for like 6 months, bro. Oh, and it's not even done yet. It won't be done until like August, bro. But hey, if you subscribe, you'll be notified when it does get done, okay? So yeah, and in the meantime, there will be a lot of other stuff, like, again, sketchbook tours, maybe sketchbook sessions, commentary stuff about anything and everything. So stick around, subscribe. And if you watch until the end, then you can comment this sparkle sign. And then if you liked the sketchbook, if you've tried to make your own sketchbook once. And yeah, I really want to make more sketchbooks in the future. It was very fun, especially with the different paper types, because again, I want to have quality sketchbooks that I can actually like watercolor in and stuff, but then I also like to doodle in my sketchbooks with really like low resolution sketches, if that's how I can say it. So yeah, I like to do both, and if I have the different paper kinds to do both, then that makes me feel a little bit better, so that I don't waste like $1 million paper on the worst sketch in the whole world, and I don't waste the best drawing ever on pissy paper. This was very fun. Thank you for watching. Again, like and subscribe. Cass out.